Mary Johnson had worked at the same company for almost 15 years. Every morning, she arrived before sunrise, wearing her faded blue uniform and carrying a quiet smile. She cleaned the offices, emptied the trash bins, and polished the floors until they shined like glass. Most of the employees didn't even know her name. To them, she was just the cleaning lady. But Mary wasn't just a cleaner. She listened. Every day she worked, she heard conversations about profits, problems, and plans. She noticed who worked hard and who only talked. She saw how some young managers treated people kindly and how others acted like kings. She remembered every detail, but she never spoke. She just smiled, nodded, and kept sweeping. The company, a large software firm in Chicago, was going through a hard time. Sales were falling, employees were quitting, and rumors spread that layoffs were coming. The CEO, Mr. Raymond, was a proud man who didn't like to listen to anyone beneath him. He often passed by Mary without even looking at her. Sometimes, when she was cleaning the hallway, he would tell her to hurry up, as if her presence annoyed him. Mary never replied. She simply said, "Yes, sir," and moved aside. One rainy morning, a group of young employees stood near the coffee machine laughing. Mary was wiping the floor nearby when she heard them whispering. "She's been here forever," one said. "Imagine cleaning the same place for 15 years. Another added, "She probably doesn't even know what we do." They laughed louder. Mary looked at them softly and said, "You're right. I don't know all that you do. But I know this company better than you think." Her calm voice surprised them. They laughed again, but this time uneasily. Later that day, when Mary finished her shift, she stayed behind. She had noticed something unusual, a folder left open on a manager's desk. It wasn't her business, but something caught her eye. It showed expenses that didn't make sense, payments made to companies that didn't exist. Mary quietly took a photo on her old phone. She didn't steal anything. She just wanted proof. She knew something was wrong. That night, at home, Mary sat by her small kitchen table, staring at the photo. Her daughter, Jasmine, walked in. Jasmine was in college, studying business, and she often helped her mom understand financial news. "Mom," she said, "these look like fake companies. Someone's stealing from your workplace." Mary nodded. "I thought so." For the next few weeks, Mary started paying attention even more carefully. Every night, when she cleaned the offices, she noticed new documents, strange invoices, and computer screens left unlocked. She didn't tell anyone. She gathered quiet evidence. And when she had enough, she sent an anonymous letter to the company's board of directors. She didn't sign her name. She didn't want attention. She wanted the truth to come out. A month later, everything changed. The board launched an investigation. The finance team was shocked. Several managers were caught moving money into fake accounts. The CEO, Mr. Raymond, tried to defend himself, but too many things pointed to him. Suddenly, people at the company were scared. Meetings were called, lawyers arrived, and whispers filled the halls. Mary kept cleaning, as always. No one knew she was the one who had started it all. But one day, she was called to the boardroom. She had never been there before. The big table, the leather chairs, the tall windows, it all felt like another world. She stood quietly at the door while one of the directors, a kind woman named Mrs. Patterson, smiled and said, "Mrs. Johnson, please come in." Mary walked in slowly, unsure. "Did I do something wrong?" she asked. The director shook her head. "No, you did something right. You saved this company." The board had traced the anonymous letter to the office network and found that it was sent after cleaning hours. From a computer, Mary sometimes used to listen to music. They connected the dots and realized who had warned them. Instead of being angry, they were grateful. "Mrs. Johnson," Mrs. Patterson said gently, "we want to thank you for your honesty and courage. You've been here longer than anyone else. You've seen everything, and we think you deserve more than a thank you." Mary was speechless. She looked down, unsure what to say. She thought they might give her a small reward or maybe a certificate. But instead, they offered her a position in the compliance department. They wanted someone who truly cared about ethics and integrity, and Mary had just proven that she did. When Mary returned to work the next week, everyone stared at her. The same people who used to laugh at her now looked nervous. They whispered, wondering how the cleaning lady had been invited to a board meeting. Mary said nothing. She just kept her quiet smile. One afternoon, she met Mr. Raymond in the hallway. He looked tired and angry. He didn't know that Mary was the reason he was under investigation, but he could sense that something had changed. "Enjoy your last days here," he muttered as he passed. Mary simply said, "You too, sir." A few weeks later, the news broke. The CEO was fired for misconduct. The managers involved in the fake payments were dismissed too. The company began rebuilding itself, stronger than before. And in the middle of it all, Mary was promoted again, this time to a senior position overseeing ethics and employee welfare. When the announcement was made, the employees gathered in the lobby. The same group who once mocked her stood silently as the board chair introduced her. "Please welcome Mrs. Mary Johnson, our new Director of Corporate Integrity." The crowd clapped, but it wasn't out of politeness. It was real respect. Many had tears in their eyes. Mary stood at the front, holding her speech notes in shaking hands. She never imagined speaking in front of hundreds of people. She cleared her throat and said, "I was once invisible here. People passed by me every day and never saw me. But I saw all of you. And I learned that every person, no matter their title, has power when they choose to do what's right." The room was silent. Then came a long, heartfelt applause. Mary's life changed, but she didn't. She still arrived early, smiled at everyone, and helped people when they needed advice. She even started a small scholarship fund for the children of the cleaning staff, saying, "We all deserve a chance to rise." No one laughed at her again. Months had passed since Mary Johnson had been promoted to Director of Corporate Integrity. Her new office overlooked the same parking lot she used to cross every morning with her cleaning cart. The window was large, the desk was shiny, but Mary didn't care much for furniture or fancy things. She cared about people. Every file on her desk represented someone's story, someone trying to do their job right. Even though she now wore tailored clothes and spoke in board meetings, Mary never forgot where she came from. She still greeted the cleaning staff every morning, asking about their families. Many of them looked at her with pride. She was proof that good people could rise without stepping on others. But not everyone in the company was happy about Mary's new position. Some old executives couldn't accept that a woman who once cleaned floors now had the authority to inspect their decisions. They smiled in meetings, but whispered behind her back. Mary knew it, but she didn't let it bother her. She had faced worse things in life. Then came the storm. One morning, the board called an emergency meeting. There were new irregularities in the company's finances, hidden payments, expensive trips, and personal use of company funds. The name behind the transactions shocked everyone. It was Raymond, the same man who had been removed as CEO months earlier. Somehow, he still had influence through a friend in upper management. He had been advising from the shadows, trying to regain control. Mary looked at the papers in front of her and felt a quiet sadness. She remembered how he used to walk past her without noticing her existence. Now she held his entire record in her hands. The board turned to her. "Mary, we trust you to handle this investigation," the chairwoman said. "You know the people. You know the system." Mary nodded. "I'll do it properly," she said softly. For the next 2 weeks, Mary worked late every night. She reviewed financial statements, interviewed employees, and checked security logs. She never accused anyone without proof. She wanted truth, not revenge. Her calm honesty made people open up to her. Slowly, piece by piece, the story became clear. Raymond had used personal connections to push the company toward a secret merger deal that would have made him rich again. One evening, while the office was quiet, Mary looked at an old photo on her wall, a small picture of herself years ago, wearing her cleaner's uniform and holding a mop. It reminded her why she worked so hard. She wasn't fighting for money or fame. She was fighting for fairness. Finally, her report was ready. It was 72 pages long, full of details and evidence. When she presented it to the board, they listened in silence. At the end, she said, "We can't build a company on fear or greed. We must build it on trust." Her voice was calm but strong. The board voted unanimously to end all contracts linked to Raymond and his allies. But there was one more decision to make. Raymond had been offered a consulting position months earlier, one that gave him limited access to company data. The board asked Mary to deliver the termination notice personally, since she was the director of integrity. When Mary heard this, she paused for a moment. She wasn't nervous, but she understood the weight of the moment. The same man who once treated her as invisible would now receive his final notice from her hands. It wasn't revenge. It was justice. The next day, Raymond arrived at the building to collect some personal belongings. He wore his expensive suit and confident smile, but both seemed faded now. As he entered his old office, he found Mary standing by the window. For a moment, he didn't recognize her. Then he frowned. "Mary, what are you doing here?" She smiled kindly. "Good morning, Mr. Raymond. I'm here on behalf of the board." He laughed lightly, as if it were a joke. "On behalf of the board? Don't tell me you've joined them." Mary handed him an envelope. "Actually, I lead the corporate integrity division now, and I have something for you." He opened the envelope slowly. His expression changed as he read. This can't be serious," he said, his voice shaking. "It is," Mary replied softly. "The board has decided to terminate your consulting contract, effective immediately." He looked up at her, eyes full of disbelief. "You're firing me?" Mary took a deep breath. "No, Mr. Raymond. You fired yourself when you chose to misuse this company's trust." The room went silent. For the first time, Raymond had no words. He looked at her, this woman he once ignored, and saw calm authority in her eyes. Not pride, not anger, just quiet strength. "I wish you well," Mary said, picking up her folder. "I hope you find peace in your next chapter." She walked out without looking back. After that day, the company changed completely. Mary's leadership inspired others. She created programs to help low-level employees grow within the company. She started mentorship sessions where executives listened to janitors, drivers, and assistants. The motto on her office wall read, "No job is small when done with heart." The story of the cleaning lady who became a director spread across the city. Newspapers wrote about her. Students from local universities came to interview her for their business ethics projects. Mary always told them the same thing. Titles don't make you great. Your choices do. One afternoon, she received a letter in the mail. It was from Raymond. He didn't ask for forgiveness, but he thanked her. He wrote that losing his position made him see his mistakes. He was volunteering now, helping young people find work. Mary read the letter slowly and smiled. She placed it in her drawer beside her old ID badge from her cleaning days. A year later, the company celebrated its 50th anniversary. Employees gathered in a large hall decorated with golden ribbons and lights. The board chairwoman announced that the company had achieved record growth and credited the turnaround to a woman who reminded us that integrity is the foundation of success. Everyone, looked toward Mary. She stood up modestly. As the crowd clapped and cheered Dot after the ceremony, Mary walked through the office one last time before leaving for the evening. The same hallway she once cleaned now carried her story. She stopped by the janitor's closet where her old mop still hung. She touched it gently and whispered, "We did it." Outside, the night was quiet. The city lights reflected on her car window as she drove home. She thought of her daughter Jasmine, who had just graduated from college and was about to join the company as an intern. The thought made her eyes warm with pride. When she reached home, her neighbors waved at her. Everyone in her community admired her. But Mary stayed humble. She spent weekends visiting schools, talking to children about honesty and perseverance. "You don't need to be rich to make a difference," she always said. "You just need courage to do the right thing." One evening, as she sat on her porch watching the sunset, her daughter said, "Mom, people still talk about how you fired the CEO. Does it feel strange?" Mary chuckled softly. "No, baby. It feels right. Because I didn't fire a man. I fired the attitude that some people are less important than others." The wind blew gently, carrying the scent of flowers from her small garden. Mary looked at the sky and smiled. Her life had changed, but her heart had stayed the same. She still believed in kindness, hard work, and truth. And somewhere in the tall building she once cleaned, her story remained, a reminder to everyone that greatness can rise from anywhere. And respect should never depend on a title or a suit. They had laughed at her once. But in the end, it was her quiet strength that saved them all.